Hi everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name's Tara and today I'm going to be talking about 9 things that people with anxiety and depression wish that others understood about them. So I'm getting back into my mental health topic because ending the stigma that surrounds mental health, mental illness, and all of that is very important to me. As you can see, I am still up in my bedroom filming instead of being down in the family room. One of these days I'm going to make my husband work up here so I can film in my usual space, but Cassidy's napping and I usually have to take these opportunities when they come to film, so here I am. Anyway, let's get into it. Number 1, I can't control it. No one can control it. No one with any mental illness has any control over how it affects them, when it affects them, or why it affects them. It's not something that I can just snap out of, or anyone for that matter. It is a legitimate disorder of the brain. The brain is an organ and it can have issues just like any other part of the body. Sometimes to manage it you need medication, sometimes to manage it you need therapy. Either way, it is a legitimate problem, just like you can't control if you have the stomach flu, you can't control when mental illness hits you. Number 2, I am not weak. In fact, most people with mental illnesses are the strongest people I know. It is really hard battling with yourself day in and day out. When your worst enemy is in your head telling you these horrible things about you, it is really hard to deal with, and everyone who deals with this on a regular basis and gets through the day is really strong. Number 3, I am not lazy. Anyone who deals with depression on a regular basis knows the extreme exhaustion that can come along with it. There are days where I have such a hard time getting off the couch. There are people who deal with it in such a extreme case where they can't get out of bed for days. And it has nothing to do with laziness. It's that they physically can't. It is a level of exhaustion that is hard to explain to anyone who's never experienced it. But as much as we're not getting out of bed some days, we want to, and we want to do things just like you. Some people who have depression are lazy. Some people who don't have depression are lazy, because some people are lazy. But having depression does not make you lazy. Number 4, I am doing my best. I do whatever I can to manage my illness, just like anyone with any other illness does. There are good days and there are bad days, but I promise you I'm doing the best I can. Number 5, I want help. And I want you to help me if you can. It's really hard to ask for help, and I'm actually in the middle of writing a blog post about this. It's hard for most people to ask for help, but when you suffer from a mental illness, it is even harder because you're worried about people judging you, you're worried about people not understanding your situation. But don't think that we don't want the help if we're not asking for it. If you see a loved one struggling, see if you can help them. If you do want to help but you're just not sure what to do, just ask. Say, can I help you with anything? Or what do you need me to do for you? Actually, I almost would say the latter. Say, what do you need me to do for you right now? Don't ask, can I help you? Because the automatic split decision is just going to be no. I do this all the time. Someone offers help and I'm just like, no, I got this. And then 2 minutes later, I'm like, why didn't I accept that help? It's just like this thing that you don't want to accept help. You don't want to ask for help because if you say yes, you're basically asking for help. So just jump in and help. Jump in or ask us a question that we can't say no to, because if you ask a yes or no question, we're going to say no. But if you say, what can I do for you right now? It gives us more of a, okay, you're going to help me right now idea. So instead of thinking of saying no, we're thinking what you can do. If that makes sense. I don't know. This was a bit of a ramble. Basically, we do want help even when we're not asking. Number 6, and this one is an important one. I don't mean to hurt you. This is a really important one for people to keep in mind if you are in some sort of relationship or friendship or have family members who have mental illness. Sometimes we need a few days to isolate ourselves and work through things alone. We're not ignoring you, and we're really sorry if you feel ignored, you feel like we're not prioritizing you. Sometimes we really need to do this for our mental health. But I promise when I get back to my healthy self, I am coming back. That being said, if we do something that hurts you, talk to us. Don't be a jerk about it, but talk to us. Say, this is happening. I understand you're dealing with this, but this is how I feel about what just happened or what has been happening. And let them know how they're making you feel. And if they can explain to you the reasons why they've been doing what they're doing, it might help you feel a little better as well. Not to mention anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, BPD, all of these do come with mood swings that can happen. And I'm a big believer that you shouldn't hide behind a mental illness and say, I can be a jerk because of this. No. But mood swings are a very real issue. It's not realistic to expect someone, even someone not suffering from a mental illness, to just not have days where they're just in a bad mood or they're suddenly happy and then suddenly upset about something really small. Mood swings happen, and most of us try and deal with them, but sometimes they can spill out into relationships. I have snapped at my husband over stupid things so many times, but he knows that it's not about him, it's not his fault, it's just me going through a bad time. And I do apologize when I know I've been quite irrational. Now, number 7 doesn't apply to all, because in the case this is true for some people, but for me and for a lot of us, number 7 is that it is not my parents' fault. There's this knee-jerk reaction to someone who has a mental illness to say, oh, your parents must have effed you up, or, oh, what did your parents do? Your parents must have hit you. Your parents must have done this. And yeah, there's a lot of people who have anxiety, depression, PTSD, and other because they suffered difficult childhoods. They had really bad parents, abusive parents. So I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about people like me who had a pretty normal, average childhood. My parents are very loving. My parents aren't perfect. No one's parents are. You can't expect any parent to be perfect because they're just human. But my parents were good. They didn't do anything to scar us for life or anything like that. They raised me and my sister well, and there are things about their parenting style that I am not going to do with my kids. There are things about their parenting style that I will do with my kids. But they did not cause any of my mental illnesses by any means. Number 8, don't feel bad for me. I don't need your pity. I don't need sympathy. I just need understanding and compassion. And that's what any of us want. We just want you to understand what we're going through, be compassionate towards us, but we don't need you to just feel sad for us because that's just not going to help us feel any better. Number 9, and I think most importantly, I am more than my diagnosis. I am more than anxiety and depression. There's so much more to me or anyone else who suffers from a mental illness than the illness itself. We have full personalities, we enjoy things, we have full lives, a lot of us have careers, families, and we also can be upset for legitimate reasons. And one thing that can be really bothersome is if something is upsetting me, if someone brushes it off and say, oh, your depression's acting up, or oh, you're just anxious and it's making you all uptight. No, I can legitimately be upset, and it can be a legitimate reason for being upset. And it shouldn't be brushed away because of my illness. So those are my 9 things that people need to understand about people with anxiety and depression. any illness really. And there's definitely more, but those are the 9 I broke down. I actually wrote a blog article about this, and it has each of these things listed, written out too. If you're interested, I will leave the link in the description. And yeah, I think that's the end of my video. Fortunately, this time Cassidy slept through the entire thing, so that makes me really happy. Next week, I'm going to be telling you a story about the day I really learned that you never know what's going on in a person's head and why you shouldn't make snap judgments. It's a story from when I used to work at a clothing store, and it was a very eye-opening day for me. So I'm going to tell you that story. I might tell you it from downstairs. I'm literally just above the living room where I normally film. We'll see. This quarantine situation has been a little stressful, but we are powering through, and I hope everyone else is too. It's definitely a very difficult time. I actually wrote a blog post too about the importance of social distancing, and I'll leave the link to that in the description as well, because I think it's important to remember the people that we are protecting by doing this social distancing. It's really important, and I just hope everyone is complying so we can get through this together, get through this sooner, and get back to life as we know it once again, finally. Anyway, if you liked this video or if you're excited to see more, hit the like button. It really does help me out, especially because I'm still getting started on this platform. Subscribe to my channel. Extra bonus points, hit the bell if you want to be notified about my next videos, and I will see you next week. Bye! Also, I want to say I'm super proud of Sequin. She has been in this room the whole time, and I don't think she meowed once.